Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at the home studio this evening to bring you really a killer-as interview with an artist who has long roots in the San Antonio metal scene, a man who really has become an inspiration for many people out there and musicians who want to continue to be successful in pursuing their passions. Brings me great pleasure to welcome the man, bassist, Mr. Troy DOEBBLER. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. How are you, man? It's good to see you finally across the table here.
Finally.
Yes.
You cannot tell me, Rob, you never called me.
Well, I did. I was like, hey, man. I was like, you never called me, bro. So you did. So good. So now we're here, man.
Troy, and I think, I couldn't have caught you at a better time because it really seems like, it's a beautiful thing to see how your career has played out over all these years, and I've known you for so long and I've kind of seen you, transgress from band to band and really to where you are now. And so it only seems appropriate to start at the very beginning. Let's talk a little bit about when you first started wanting to pursue music. What made you want to pursue music, and when did you realize that music was something that you wanted to pursue?
Probably around, I don't know, man, mid-high school, something like that. It's like the majority of my friends I started hanging out with were all starting to join bands and start playing music, and it was just kind of hanging out and doing stuff like that. And the first, I guess, sorting of Alienation, I was playing with another band across the cul-de-sac, and they're like, dude, we kind of need a bass player. I'm like, yeah, cool. I kind of want to play heavier stuff because I was doing a little bit of really bad prog rock sort of stuff because, had a couple of good guitarists. I sucked horribly. So I'm like, I think I'm better at metal. Let's just go straight speed metal and do with what my roots and what I was listening to were. So, I'd say right around probably 16, something like that is when I started, I fiddled with the guitar for years before that and just wasn't really good at it. So, I'm like, well, man, let me give bass a try and see, and just kind of fell in love with it, and that's been my staple since then,
Give us a little scope on what era was that? Was that like,
That would have been with, who was playing, like, Fearless Iranians from Hell. I'm trying to think.
What about national bands, even big bands?
Oh, God. Who would it have been? Early Anthrax.
Okay.
Early Anthrax, stuff like that. All the speed metal stuff that was coming out, and that's what I was really getting. Halloween, stuff like that. I listened to a lot of Grim Reaper, a lot of Halloween. So that's dating some, but it's that's always I've been a metal kid for forever. That's always been what I've been most interested in. I've delved to other realms here and there as the older I get, but I'm still a very big metalhead at heart.
So you crossed the cul-de-sac and got into heavier stuff. Was that the first incarnation of Alienation? Because when people will think of Alienation, people might think of the Killing Technique lineup. Right. But really there was a lineup before that I know that include. Oh, really? Well, enlighten us, because the one that I'm referring to is with Sean Nations and Robin Lewis. Right. And Eric has always been there. Was that the first verse?
That's the second version, because we had a year and a half or two, I want to say, before that, which was we had a singer named Kirsten Topperwine that was in that, but it was still Robin and Jason and Eric and myself and Kirsten, and we started doing, it was real speed metal sort of stuff. When we started doing stuff with Sean, it went a little bit more to Flotsam and Jetsam styled stuff, a little bit more melodic metal as compared to the first. That was just how fast and how many freaking notes can we play in 3.5 minutes. But and then with Shane was the third and pretty much final in the chapter of Alienation. But
what was the goal at that time? I mean, was it just to play speed metal, and was it just to play shows? I mean, really, as young people at that time, I guess that's all you could really ask for.
Right. I mean, that's we were looking to play shows and get ourselves known, and we fell in love with the creation of music and playing music, and it's like, well, let's play this as much and as far as we can, you know, which was really, you know, just Texas runs. But we would, every weekend, we would play 2 shows, 3 shows every weekend for years and years and years and years. And whatever else popped up, it's like, let's do it. You know, we were young enough at the time to where it's like, yeah, fuck this job. Who cares? You know, I quit. I got a show. Doesn't matter. You know, but it was a really fun time, man. It was good to, that was really cutting my teeth in learning how the music business works, in learning how to create songs, how to play songs, how to not kill your band members that you're cooped up with, you know, because I mean, we used to rehearse 7 days a week, you know, unless we had a show, then we would rehearse 6 days and play a show. So, but it was a really cool time, man.
You know, I came really to know Alienation during the Killing Technique era that included Shane Pershong and Ron Vest in the lineup. And really, it was that lineup that I always kind of felt made a huge impact in the metal scene. I remember when you guys would play out on the weekends, you know, at the White Rabbit, it was always packed, man. People were coming out, and I was privy to shoot many of those shows, and I have them all on tape. And some of you people out there who don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to our channel, you'll see some of that footage, and some of it I'll keep in the archive for a little longer. You know, the Killing Technique CD came out, and I think it garnished much acclaim. And one of the things that you know, I've always kind of pondered on, and I've heard different stories about, was that CD had even got offered a record deal from Noise Records. How true is that? And if you can, share a little bit about what happened with the record deal.
Right. I mean, we had a contract with them. You know, it was right after Face of Anger and Pissing Razors, who were buddies of ours, and we played all over Texas with them. You know, and it was just realistically at the time, it was and what they were offering, and I think we were reading too much. It's like, you know, we need to get educated. We need to, okay, if labels are starting to offer us stuff, then we need to know how to not screw ourselves and do this. And really what they offered was not much money, not much promotion, no tour or no budget for touring. So it's like, well, there's no way we're ever going to be able to recoup. There's no way we're going to be able to get on the road because we're still, you know, 5 broke ass dudes. So it's like, what is it really going to do? It's like, you know, distribution for what? Nobody knows who we are. We don't have any promotion. No one's going to buy it. So we just decided to pass on that and just kind of, you know, we got 5 or 6 other awesome rejection letters from you know, cool labels and stuff like that. But it just really didn't pan out at that point, you know. But, you know, in hindsight, couldn't have hurt at this point.
That's what that was going to be my next question. I mean, do you not that the decision was wholly yours, but would you have advocated, knowing what you know now, back at that time to do the deal with Noise?
You know, it wouldn't have hurt, you know, from just how things played out and stuff like that. But then again, you know, we always, you know, we kept ourselves in a high enough regard to where it was like, you know what, maybe let's not take the first thing that's thrown to us and let's just see. And you know, we just independently released it, and it did what it did. And it was a cool album, you know. We were really into writing music and doing what we were doing at that point, you know. So it's still a super album. I listen to it every once in a while. You know, it's fun and it's powerful, and we had a great time doing it, you know.
I do too, and I know lots of my friends still do. And so the record deal never happened, and then it seemed like in the years thereafter that the band just kind of demised. What was the demise of Alienation?
It wasn't necessarily, you know, it was people wanting to go different directions, do different sort of things, and we'd been doing it for 10 years, you know, so it was just kind of mostly just people going their own way and just, you know, kind of going to different avenues of what they wanted to do in their musical career and stuff like that, and that just didn't really add up, you know, to keeping the band alive at the last of the point. So we're just like, you know, no bad feelings, nothing like that. Just like, you know, let's, you're doing this, I'm gonna go do this. Yeah, fuck it, you know. We'll see what happens later on down the road, you know. Yeah.
So and then also people know that there were if I'm not mistaken, a couple of Alien reunions. Yeah, there was one in 2006. Right. You guys played a show in 2006, and I was there to shoot that too. How do you feel about the reunions? How did they play out? What was the goal with the reunions? Was just to do a show? Yeah.
It was fun, and friends asking us, dude, it's like, are y'all ever gonna jam again? Just do a show, just a jam again, and we actually, sat down and talked to each other, and it's like, you know what, that sounds like fun. Let's just, for nothing but the sake of fun. So that's all those really were, getting together with some good old friends and jamming out,
You still keep in touch with any of those guys?
Most of them, yeah.
Cool. That's cool.
We chat, it's like we're Facebook too much, see each other out too much, but I still love all the cats, man, know.
Okay. How could you not, man? I mean, really, Alien, when I think of Troy, I always think about Alien first.
Right.
Because that's how I know you first. And then, of course, we're going to talk about how your career has transgressed. It seemed that after the demise of Alien, did you get right back into music? Did you take some time off? Because your next band after Alien was a band called Forever Is Never.
Right.
And people know that, people in San Antonio know that the lead vocalist in that band was the late Jason Sonbach. And what you were doing, what you guys were doing with Forever Is Never was obviously something very different than the brutality of Alienation.
Right.
So how long after Alien did you kind of join or hook up with Jason?
Maybe a couple of months.
Wow.
I've never quit working since I've started playing music. It's always like, well, okay, that's dying down or coming to an end. Cool, what's next? All right, let's go. But we'd started talking about that before Alien really totally shut down because, me and Jason were friends before that. He's like, dude, we got to do something together. Let's do something weird. It's like, I want to do something that's, my style, but I want some heavy in the bottom, so I want you because you're a metal dude. And so we just talked through it, and then we, put it together and got Danny that used to be in Judgmental, and then the Monzone brothers,
Yep.
That were doing the Drug County stuff, and it was just a real neat, unique. Jaime and Dan,
Yep.
yeah, it was a real unique mixture of musical flavors in there. I had a whole lot of fun doing that, man.
I remember also shooting some of those shows, and it looked like you guys were just having fun on stage, and Jason was just like really going off. You were going off on too. You still had your long dreads at that time. It was cool, man, to see you guys doing that stuff.
It was real fun because that was the first band, that I could really play bass in. It's like sometimes in metal stuff, when you're a bass player, you're a third guitarist. In that, the guitars were doing so much washy and atmospheric stuff that I had to hold down a real solid backbone to that.
Right,
and so it was real fun. It really helped me as a musician and as a bass player be a bass player. So I loved that project. It was really fun for all the years we did it,
And is there was one official release for Forever Is Never, is that true?
We did an EP and then we did a full length.
Okay.
Right.
I think I have only the EP. I don't think I ever got my hands on the full length.
Right. The full length was cool, man. It was definitely going into a whole weirder, different direction, which was fun. We were constantly recording and writing in that band. That's all. That was another band that we'd rehearse 6 days a week, every chance we could. It's like, because it was fun. We liked each other. We liked to be around each other. That was our clique, our group of people. So we just constantly jammed just for the love of doing it. It was really cool, man.
And so what happened there at the end of Forever Is Never? Because Jason didn't pass until after the demise of the band.
Right. It's for me, pretty much I quit doing it. I needed something else. I thought I'd done what I could do in that band at that point, So I went on to go do progressive rock stuff for the. It's like I want to learn more. I want to do something else. I'm maybe just out of boredom at the point or something like that. But it was nothing. No hard feelings or nothing. I've never left a band in a bad way with anything. It's just like still love those dudes to death too, man.
And as we talk about those dudes, Jason Sonbach was. He was a very beloved guy in the San Antonio music scene. People were enamored with him.
Amazing from him.
Yeah,
freaking amazing, man.
People were enamored with him in Protein Shake, and then even when he moved to Forever Is Never, his fans continued to follow him. And and not to get into his passing, but when you think about him, what is the most important thing that comes to mind when you think about Jason Sambach, not only as an artist but as a person?
He just had a beautiful energy, man. He really did. He had a great energy, and especially it was great to play on a stage with him, just because you could feed off of his energy, and it made you want to go as batshit crazy as he was going. So it was always just really, really fun shows. He was just a cool dude, man.
I remember him too. Good guy, and I was kind of gotta say good kid because he was always a little younger than us, but we loved his energy. So after Forever Is Never, there was a band called 13 Muses. Is that correct?
Yeah. That was a fun project with me and Jeff Durio, Chris Bauer, Frazier, and then we had Joe after Frazier. It was kind of experimental, progressive, heavy stuff because Jeff's an insane guitarist. Insane. I learned to, and that was another thing too. I really wanted to play with Jeff because I'm like, this dude's gonna teach me some shit.
Let me just ask you, or elaborate and comment, and then you can take it from there. And it kind of seems like from Alien to Forever Is Never to 13 Muses, it kind of seems like musically you were progressing as a musician and a player, and just getting better at your craft.
Right. I mean, that's the overall goal, really. It's like it was a lot of the things I've done have been different genres or different styles of stuff. Just I don't know whether to keep my mind motivated or just as a musician, you always want to be better at your craft, and so just the progression of these bands. Like I said, that one was a lot to do with watching this dude going, I can't even comprehend what he's doing. Let me figure out what he's doing, and it was really fun stuff. You had to work at it. It wasn't, oh yeah, I can pick this up and play it. It wasn't that sort of music. It's all, you gotta be on your game to do it. It was super fun, man. It's really, really keep your chops up sort of music,
Were there just demos of 13 Muses that were released?
One album.
Oh, okay.
We did one album, just locally released stuff. I think it was 9 or 10 tracks, something like that. But Bauer recorded it and stuff like that with his badass self, and it was really fun music. We had about, I think we did another demo of another 5-6 songs, something like that, which was progressing more into, I don't know, the southern rock progression sort of stuff, which was super fun too. But that unfortunately came to an end as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. People kind of will tinker with their loves, and then like any good relationship might come to an end, and it might last forever. You never know.
Right. That's it. Every good thing has its end. But
I do think that the end of 13 Muses though was a huge crossroads for you. It kind of seemed like after 13 Muses, the kind of stars aligned, and then you kind of were at a different level.
That was one of my. When I made the decision to kind of stop doing 13 Muses, it was kind of clashing with the Cult of Follow stuff that I was starting to do, and it's just like, at that point you kind of got to sit down. You got to go, well, what's going to be in my best interest? Where's my heart really lying at this point? And at that point, it was in Cult of Follow, and that's what I wanted to pursue.
Yeah. And Cult of Follow, for some of you people out there outside of our city, is the band also led by Brian Scott of Union Underground fame. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Brian Scott. How did you kind of become part of the Cult of Follow?
Man, me and Brian have known each other since we were, I think we counted the other day, since we were 15. So we've known each other a long time. So it's, I've known him forever. We've known each other forever kind of growing up, and when he started doing the Union stuff, and then that kind of passed, and I was actually trying out to see if it was going to be Union stuff or if it was going to be Cult of Follow, a new band, and I'd flown to Vegas numerous times when he was out there, and we just, kind of hung out and still hit it off. We're pals before anything, really, you know what I mean? So that kind of, he was trying to do stuff in Vegas, and I'm like, why don't you just come back to San Antonio, dude? I know a couple of really cool dudes, man, that'd make this really badass and it'd make it real easy to do, and he ended up doing that, and so we started working with Jason and Todd, and it just kind of gelled out.
Wow. Talk a little bit about the you've already kind of at this point been in several kind of different kinds of bands, musically also kind of very different kinds of bands. Right. What did you talked about? Learning some technicality and precision from Durio. What did you kind of want to take away from working with Brian Scott? Even though you had kind of had this long history with him, right. Brian had kind of become this acclaimed, right. producer. He was very musically inclined. He's a songwriter, I think, above anything else. What did you kind of want to take away from working with him?
A lot of that, some songwriting, and just the songs that he'd had that he'd presented me with. I was just like, these are freaking amazing, dude. I'm like, holy shit, man. It's like I would love to play, and I'd wanted to play with him. It's like I had a almost with Union Underground. I did a tryout with them basically, but they were already working with Moyer. They're like, dude, fuck, bro, we're gonna go with Moyer. I'm like, oh, fuck, all right, man, cool, whatever. But no, mostly just it was just really good music, man. And it's like, and playing with my friends, cool. Yeah. It doesn't get better.
I had Brian Scott here last year, and he told me, Rob, Cult of Follow's not done. We're not a done band. We're just on a little hibernation right now. Right. Can you share at this point any updates with what's happening with Cult of Follow?
I mean, nothing. I know he's writing new music for it, so that's going. I've heard a little bit, but he's doing that. It's nothing that's rushed, because as you know with him. But I mean, we all kind of have so much stuff going on. Yeah. Jason's doing his stuff. Yeah. Brian's doing the Union now and the Into the Fire, and I'm doing Wednesday and Union stuff now. So it's like, when it falls into place, it'll fall into place, and I look forward to doing it. I like the music of that band. Yeah. And I like playing it. I enjoy playing with those dudes.
What is it about the music that you like playing though?
It's just the groove. It's just groovy, and it's just really well written stuff, man. It's just songs. I'm into at this point in my playing, I'm into playing songs. I like to play songs that move me and stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff he writes really does,
You alluded to, auditioning for the Union Underground, and now you're playing with the Union Underground in 2017. Holy shit.
Bittersweet, man. Bittersweet,
Better late than never.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit of a revenge thing. So I'm like, he's all, hey, man, what do you think about playing? And I'm like, fuck yes. What do you mean? Yes, of course. Exactly. It's like, should have picked me the first time, motherfucker. But,
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, better late than never. Sure. And, it's a whole different vibe. And we're having a super fun doing it, man. It's just really fun to jam these tunes.
Yeah, we people who watch our program saw the Union Underground interview that we did back in April. Was it April? And that Siesta Fest 2017. I was really happy to get the whole band there, and the crew and I were having such a good time. That evening. Talk a little bit about that performance. That was your first official performance with the Union Underground.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. It was fun. I was really looking forward to it, and it's like I said, I really like that album, and those songs are really fun to play. So it was just like, all right, cool. Let's go tear this up.
And you're here in your hometown,
right? Which is, good and bad, nerve-wracking and not.
Everyone's hitting you up for tickets. Give me free tickets.
It's like, man, I pay for your band. I pay to go see for your band. Come pay to see me, man. But no,
tickets are a lot more expensive.
I know, right? I'm like, all right, well, I've come to see you twice. Come on. No, but no, it was a whole lot of fun, man. And Brian does it like he always does, big production. So it's always fun to be part of that.
That's very cool.
It was a good show, a packed house, which. It was just super fun, man.
And on Facebook, we've kind of seen that Union will be doing some shows. Is it this coming week? Right, this coming week, and
Friday and Saturday.
Going outside and staying in Texas, but doing like Houston and Dallas, which obviously are bigger markets than San Antonio. What do you anticipate for Houston and Dallas?
It should be good. I mean, Union was really well received in Texas, especially, but. I mean, I've seen emails from all around, come to South Carolina, come to Chicago, so I'm curious to see. I know this is pretty much just a relaunch of it, and I'm back out on tour soon as well, so hopefully schedules will work out. If not, I mean, what can you do? But as I've told him, it's like, dude, anytime I'm available, I'm totally down to do this because I like it. It's fun, you know. So we'll see what happens in the future. I'm guessing more stuff will happen about 2018. It'll really start moving.
And I'm really happy that you are the one playing with this band. I remember when the word first got out that he was putting Union back together. I was getting lots of messages from musicians who were saying, "Rob, how can I audition? Is Brian taking auditions? What's going on?" Right. I mean, a lot of people wanted to play with him, but of course, at our tenure, we know how important back-end relationships are, and having a successful band, and not only a good band, but just a band of people that we get along and we love what we're doing.
Exactly, it's really key. It's like, because if you can't get along with these people, you're just gonna. It takes some of the fun out of what should be just an absolutely fun time. So, and like I said, all four of us get along really cool in that project. It's just real mellow and real cool, man. Yeah. So yeah.
And let's move on kind of to like your current full-time gig, and we'll talk about this later, but I think one of the most beautiful things about your career now is really you are a working musician. And many musicians out there can only aspire to reach that kind of status. You landed your gig with Wednesday13 in 2011. Now it's been 6 years. Can you believe it's been that long?
No, it doesn't feel like it. But I mean, since I've joined this band, we really haven't ever stopped doing. We had one hiatus it was almost a year when Wednesday was doing some Bourbon Crow stuff and stuff like that. Yeah. But besides that, we haven't stopped moving in 6 years, that's fine with me. There's nothing I'd rather be doing than be out playing music, so it's cool. I can dig it.
People also know that Roman, a guitarist from Medicine Tongue, plays in Wednesday13. Was he in the band before you got in the band?
Yeah, he was in there. He actually started out as a tech for the band. And then he started out as a tech for the band.
A guitar tech. Yeah.
Teaching the guitarists how to play the parts. And he's like, "Dub, man." So finally the stars aligned, on that. And he got that gig. And he was doing that. And also doing some of the Bourbon Crow stuff as well. And Gunfire 76, which is kind of a rock and roll project Wednesday does on the side as well. And then, that progressed up into the Murder Dolls stuff, and then that progressed into Jason getting into the Murder Dolls, and then that went back to Wednesday13, and then I got a phone call and said, "Oh, hell yeah!" So
nice.
It was just a nice little circle of friends that ended up in a cool favor.
I keep telling all these musicians, these local musicians, these young cats, I tell them, the music business is all about relationships.
It really is, and it's really about this big.
Yeah.
So don't be a dick.
And don't burn bridges.
Ever. Or it will bite you in the ass on something that you might like, man.
So, you've been with Wednesday, and obviously, kind of Wednesday does his own thing. I think initially people were like, "Oh, he does like this horror kind of punky thing," which obviously you can play. Right. But it seems like with this last record, the Condolences record, and he and I talked about this, when you were in town, that this is really more a metal record than anything else.
It really is, and I mean, that's the way we were progressing anyway. And it's, if you look at the band, really, it's Ramon metal, me metal, Kyle metal. So it's like, hey man, and he was leaning towards that too, and just in the past couple of years, just really listening to a lot of Lamb of God and a lot of Hatebreed and a lot of Testament, and we're all, "Well, shit, dude, listen to this. Shit, dude, listen to this." He's like, "Whoa." So it was just a natural progression of and also too, he likes to change it up, and keep it interesting, which is cool. I really dig that, and that's a reason too. He has a lot of side projects. His dude's mind is constantly going, and always trying to do something different, and do something new, and try to do something that he hasn't done, or do something out of his comfort zone, which that makes it real interesting to work with a dude like that too. You know what I mean?
I think it's very respectful, for you too. I mean, because sometimes obviously, Wednesday13 is Wednesday's band, okay? And so he can have anybody in the band, but you've already been in the band for 6 years, man. I mean,
I've been in the band longer than any bass player he's had so far.
Yeah, that's
so.
what I'm talking about. You see, people who structure their band in that manner where you see people come and go all the time.
Right.
Sometimes people don't even say anything about people coming and going.
Right.
But you've been in there for a long time.
Right. Well, we've found a really good cohesive unit, and we all get along ridiculously.
Yeah.
There's no bickering, no goofy stuff. We're all there to do what we do and enjoy doing it, and enjoy doing it with our brothers.
Yeah.
So it makes touring really easy and nice, and pleasant, like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We don't need 5 buses because we all freaking hate each other.
Yeah,
It's always cool. I love those dudes to death, man.
Let's talk a little bit about being on the road because before the camera were rolling, we were talking about some of the wonderful places you've been. You talked about being in Russia and obviously Wednesday's big in the UK. And what are can you share a little bit of maybe some cool highlights of some of your touring experience with Wednesday? Because obviously, Wednesday has provided the avenue to do kind of things that you've never done before in your career.
Absolutely. No, the major perk is just to be able to play for people, all over the world. It's a trip, it's like something I aspired to do, but never really knew if it was really going to happen, and with being in this band, we've got to go to Russia and go to Prague. Prague's beautiful. Go to Australia, cool. Germany, all over stuff. We just played Download, which was just a huge festival, and it's just, I'm very, very lucky to have been, put into this position to where I'm able to do that and able to play music and express myself and do what I love doing, just not around Texas and stuff. I get to go all over and experience that and see how other people in other countries do stuff on a daily basis. It's just very interesting because I've always been a traveler anyway. Yeah. So this is just facilitates that horribly on Wednesday's dime. Thanks, Deb.
Great, man. I hope that you continue to work with Wednesday, but we don't know. You may move on to grander things. You never know the path that you continue to progress on.
Right. You never know. I'm super happy where I'm at right now, and we're not done doing what we need to do. We're just barely touching the tip of it right now. So it's there's going to be a lot more really good music coming out from this camp, but I still we all like to do little stuff on the side, and I still want to do stuff with Union, and I still want to play rock and roll music in another band for the hell of it, but right now our focus, we're very, very focused on the release of Condolences and what we have to do, because when you release an album, that's just the beginning. That's when you start of having to get to work.
Right.
It seems to me a lot of people think, oh shit, we got the label and our album's out, cool, now we just kind of coast around. Hell no. Then it's 20 times more work. Then you got to push it and shove it down everybody's throat you can, but it's fun, it's great, it's exhilarating.
Yeah. You were telling me you're going to be home for a couple of weeks, or have been home for a couple of weeks, but you're going to be back out on the road. What does the rest of this year hold for Troy DOEBBLER?
We go out at the September 20th, I want to say, 20th, 21st. We're going to go through more Middle America, hit all the East Coast we didn't hit because this last run was primarily West Coast and Middle. Then into Toronto, Canada. Then we're going overseas to do England, Germany, Finland, and I think maybe Norway and stuff that whole little France. We're doing actually doing Paris on Halloween, so that should be pretty cool.
Very cool.
So it's nerve-wracking still kind of traveling overseas in the times we live in, but this is what we do. It is what it is.
And you've always returned to San Antonio. You ever contemplated leaving San Antonio?
Not really, man. This is my home, man. This is my city. Yeah. And this is where my family is, and it's, I spend enough time in the year outside, so I like to come back to hometown and just kind of chill, and enjoy my city.
Great, man. I'm glad that you haven't left. I'm glad that you come back, because really, I meet a lot of young musicians and people like you, who who've continued to work and be successful and persevere are are an inspiration to those young musicians. And if you leave us, it's kind of like, is that what you're supposed to do?
You can ask anybody in my band. I am a Texan 100% through and through, and sometimes shout it too loud, but I am, and that's just who I am, so I don't care,
Don't ever leave us, Troy. As we end out, Troy, obviously you've played with lots of musicians, Texas musicians. You've been around those circles. I mean, you know a lot of these people, and veteran musicians, very successful people. And I won't ask who are the dudes who are the not fun people. I'll ask you that off camera.
Fair enough.
Let me ask you about the people that you have played with that you thought were really cool cats, and or people that you may want to play with that you haven't played with yet.
As far as playing still, J-Mac, gotta love him, man.
Jason McMaster?
And
fucking master, we love him.
Master, dude, I've known him since I was 14, and he's always been an inspiration to me.
Sure.
He was one of the first dudes. Him, Bob Catlin. These are the people I looked up to, going, wow, I want to do that. I want to do that. As far as national acts and stuff like that, dudes in Sepultura, awesome, cool. Guys in Fear Factory, wickedly cool. Just you run across some assholes, but for the majority, there's way more cool people than assholes out there. I guess some people gotta be assholes to counterbalance it, but I prefer to stay away from. But
one last question, Troy, and like I said, I've known you for a long time, man, and I think when we were young, we didn't think about 20 years down the road, but at this point now, would you have ever imagined that you would be doing what you do as a musician now back when you were a kid?
That's what I set my mind to. So, I'm glad I am. It's, you never know, but all you can do is bust your ass and try to get good at your craft and try hard and try harder, and then, fail and pick yourself up and keep going. The surest way not to do anything is to stop doing it. So I just never quit doing it. It's always forward. That's all you can do. So I was skeptical of it with a hope that I could pull it off at least to some extent. So I'm comfortable that I pulled it off at least to some extent, but I still want to go further.
And I also think that, people know that you're a great bass player, but I think also just your vibe, man. You have a good vibe and you have a good personality. Every time I've ever seen you or met you, you've always been super cool to me, man. And I'm sure that's the way you are with everybody out there. Troy,
Appreciate it, my friend.
It's been my pleasure and honor to have you on our show. Any last words, anything you want to share with people around the world who will see this interview?
Support Wednesday13, please. Come out, enjoy the music, and don't be assholes to each other.
Thank you once again, Troy, for humbling us by coming over to our studio and talking with us. This interview will go down in the history of San Antonio Metal, and you will too, man. Remember, everyone out there, the man Troy DOEBBLER from Alien, from Wednesday13, Union Underground, was here on the big program. Be sure to continue to follow him. Go to his Facebook, social media. He's out there and continuing to represent the Alamo City. You saw the man right here only on Rob's MetalWorks.